Go ahead, you're good to go.
Hello, my name is Danny Gourmet. I'm the chief of the engineering and maintenance department of the hotel in San Diego, California. I am assisted by Mr. David St. Germain and Ms. Christina Rodriguez over to my left. There they are. And we represent the engineering and maintenance department of the hotel, and we have gone over a financial comparison between what our maintenance department has spent on as far as maintenance expenses goes, and to give you an overview of what our general expenses are like, I'll give it over to our assistant, Ms. Christina Rodriguez.
So to start off with, we are under a budget for the first quarter of the year, and this means January, February, and March. To start off with, we took all of the expenses that we had on separate sheets for the month of January, February, and March, and we put it on one whole summary sheet. In order for the expenses to be calculated all into one, we created a formula for each month, which will be the equal sign. You click onto the corresponding month, and you click into the expense, followed by the month. And this means that whatever changes on the individual sheets for each month will change itself on the summary sheet. So, following that, we have created a percentage of total cost for the first quarter. This shows us where our expenses are going towards, and obviously we have some large expenses here. We also created a chart to visually see where our expenses are being over or under, and we have concluded that in the month of January we have spent a lot of money and we've gone over our budget, which will follow along more as the presentation goes along. We also had an issue with our elevator, in which we had to renovate it, and we created a financial function using one of the financial formulas, which is called the PMT function, which is a payment function. And as you can see here, we have a rate which we must follow for the months for the payments. And we concluded the elevator cost is going to be $100,000 with an interest rate of 7%, and we have 5 years to pay it off with 12 payments a year. So our monthly payments are looking like $1,980.12, which is a lot. So we hand it back over to Danny for our third part.
And thank you, Christina. As you can see here, we've updated our spreadsheet to show all the categories of expenses here for the first quarter. And you will notice that there are a number of categories that are highlighted in red. Every category that's highlighted in red, that represents a category that was spent, that too much money was put in, basically over our budget. So, as you can see, the month of January was much more in a general sense as compared to February and March. And we are thinking that the hotel itself was in the middle of doing a complete renovation. And throughout the time, we were thinking that the management itself really did not think about how much it would cost to complete the hotel renovation. As the expenses for, like, say, the month of January were a big increase in terms of during March. So we were thinking, would it be better if the management equally distributed the expenses towards the renovation so that it would not impact us as the maintenance department. As you can see here, this is a closer look of our total expenses. Some of these are well over budget, especially the one that's for $12,000, that's for the elevator. Now, as you mentioned earlier, that the hotel needs to have a new elevator, but how can we put a new elevator in when we overspent on the elevator budget? So, here's a graph of all of our categories which have been, which are over budget. And you're talking about multiple thousands of dollars for the first quarter, even though most of the expenses occurred in the first month of January. We do not know if that was a smart decision to make, because we do not know if these categories can bounce back from the over budget. Now, I'd like to give it over to my colleague, Mr. David St. Germain, to explain what the result is with an over budget.
Good afternoon, class. My name is David St. Germain. I'm in charge of the engineering project manager. I'm the engineering project manager. And first, let me start by saying that the engineering department does not produce revenue. That's not what we do. We're not in the business of producing revenue. We just generate expenses. But we're supposed to generate expenses within an allocated budget. So, so all of our functions in our department are essential to the operation of the hotel. Our department is behind the scenes. As you guys are the food and beverage, you guys are the face of the hotel. We're behind the scenes. We're making sure that the apparatus of the hotel are running, you know, the hotel, the beautification of that. So we're in charge of a large part of the hotel, but behind the scenes. The effects of going over budget is going to affect us tremendously. We're going to have possible layoffs of employees, so that may affect the daily operations of the hotel, cutbacks to equipment. So we're in the red here in certain areas, and that's affecting us tremendously. How to resolve the issue? One, request more funding from the management, properly distribute the renovation process into certain segments of the year, to not do it all at once, because that took a toll on our budget.
Especially for the month of January.
Especially for the month of January, as you saw in the graph. So, better communication between departments. I would recommend. I recommend finding better contracts to do the work. My conclusion for the department is based on our maintenance, like I said, spread out the renovation process into certain months, request more funding, because like I said, our department is stretched out right now. We're in the red. We need help from the food department, the accounting department, you know. So we don't create revenue, you know. So we have an allocated budget, and maybe that budget was just too small. So when you guys do good, we do good. Thank you.
That it, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, good job, guys. All right, very good. Okay. Now look, I will upload these to our YouTube channel, and you can take a look at them. And I think that